Hey, my name's Troy Little. You might know me from Cult of the Lamb, Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons, and Gordon Napkin, Powerpuff Girls, all kinds of comics. And I'm here to tell you that your childhood was trash if you didn't watch the Aliens series.
So like you said, you picked a good time to choose Aliens with Romulus, literally right on the heels of this recording.
Yeah.
What was your first exposure to the Alien franchise?
Oh my God. I mean, it was probably Aliens, and it was probably Aliens and Alien very close afterwards. We have a little video store up the street called Mr. Movie where every kid went and just, browse whatever horrible box cover art and basically base your choice on what you're renting that night on
Sure.
on that. So the Dungeon Master looked real cool, but movie not so much. Aliens doesn't have a great box cover art, but
Well,
I
it
mean,
does, but it's not great to like it. It is actually fantastic box art,
yeah,
but only once you've seen it, you understand it. Like
yeah.
from a marketing standpoint, you're right. It's trash.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd been familiar with Terminator, so I knew James Cameron,
Right.
and this was
Okay.
a movie by him, so we knew we were going to get a good popcorn movie out of that. I can't remember exactly pinpoint when I first saw any of these things. It just kind of just happened. It's always been there as far as I
Yeah.
know. But it absolutely, like, I guess the whole thing, like the alien, the design, I became obsessed with things like H.R. Giger, the artist who did a lot of the original concepts for Alien.
Yep.
To the point I was like, you barely see the monster, but I wanted to know so bad what it looked like. So
Yeah.
I'd always be obsessing about, how do I get this this old toy, the Big Chap toy and stuff. Never did get one, but I'm like, wow, somebody actually has a figurine of it, and you can see what all the parts look like because the movie's so dark. You only see bits and pieces of it. It's so
Yeah.
atmospheric in Alien. And I was just kind of obsessed with the look of the creature. So I started delving into H.R. Giger's artwork and all that weird biomechanical stuff that he was doing. And then in Aliens, you got a little bit more of the alien, kind of in a redesign, right, with the scalloped kind of head
Yep.
and great lighting and a lot of smoke. It was still really atmospheric, but a great action movie. And that thankfully started to spawn things like I had a 6 foot tall door poster of an alien ripping through a
Oh,
door,
nice.
right? You've probably seen it, but it's like you put it on the back of your door and it's an alien kind of crawling through.
That's awesome.
I haven't
Alien
seen those forever.
T-shirt and then the very first Dark Horse comics that came out, I was obsessed with those because artists had to draw the aliens, and I was an artist who wanted to make comics as a kid, and
Yeah.
so I had some reference all of a sudden, and I could draw aliens, so I had something to look at.
Nice. That's cool.
So yeah, those first Dark Horse comics, the first series Black and White, and the Airbrush series by Dennis Bouveau were just absolutely mind blowing to me. It was like more of what I was just absolutely craving. It's like loved those series so much, and I watched them so much, just couldn't get enough. And you read the novelizations and get all the little extras and stuff like that, all the Alan Dean Foster movie versions.
Nice. That's cool. I never saw the comics. I've never been exposed to those.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of people I think would have been like, man, why couldn't we get that instead of Alien 3? It picked right up with Hicks and an older Newt who was in a mental institute kind of thing, and
Oh, geez. Okay.
dealing with all that stuff. And yeah, it was really, really well done. Beautiful artwork, black and white.
Funny enough, I don't think I've ever seen Alien 3. I've
Never seen Alien 3.
Yeah, I don't think so. I've seen Alien and Aliens multiple times. I've seen Prometheus and Covenant at least twice each.
And Alien Resurrection. Where's that?
I've never seen that. Yeah,
Talk tonight.
Yeah, it's been. I don't know if I should. I mean, should I? Like, as far as like, an entertainment aspect of.
Nick, have you
not necessarily
seen
a good movie, but an entertaining movie, right?
All right, Mike, you haven't seen them. Nick, have you seen these movies? The Alien 3 and Resurrection?
I have seen Alien. I've seen parts of Aliens. 3, and Resurrection. AVP 1, I'm pretty positive I've seen 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say I haven't seen Prometheus.
Okay.
I think it was supposed to happen one night and then just didn't.
Nick's a
Because
little gun
like,
shy.
Okay.
well, no,
From his anxiety.
I think it was like we wanted to watch it and then I couldn't find the Blu-ray. So this is like, before 75 million things were streaming.
Right.
So it was like, so I think we ended up watching not that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's from an alien standpoint. I've seen. I mean, it could be one of those things like Blues Brothers. When I sat down and finally watched that movie, it turns out I'd seen 98% of it over the course of time before that, but it was like the first like 5 minutes I'd missed every time, and then like some piece in the middle, and then I was like, oh, I've seen this, like almost all of it. Like it was I feel like it's probably going to end up being one of those things where like I've seen enough pieces of it, like
Right. You get it.
like
You get the
like my
context.
first experience with it was Aliens. I was going over to my buddy's house, and the more I think about it, my buddy always watched like older stuff, like stuff I didn't know existed. But I walked in and he was just like halfway through Aliens, so like it was like a sleepover, so we just finished it and then went on and played like Super Nintendo or something like that. I don't remember.
Right. All right. Well, for Mike, there's going to be some spoilers in tonight's.
I'm fine.
You're gonna have to catch up on movies that are about 30 years old now. So
Yeah, I'm fine. I've had plenty of chances. It's my own fault at this point.
all right. Well, I mean, so my obsession with this stuff went really deep. So we're talking the mid 80s. I had a Commodore 64, and I had Aliens the video game on the Commodore 64. Shit. I got a Sega Genesis with Alien 3 cartridge. Like I would any and every opportunity I had to get my Alien fix.
Yeah.
I was all over that. So Alien 3, when that came out, I was super stoked to see that. David Fincher's first feature-length film. David Fincher did Seven and tons of really amazing films. He's such a phenomenal visual director. Did a lot of Madonna's videos. He was a music video director before he kind of got into film.
Sure.
And Alien 3 was his kind of like first step into that. And it is a flawed movie, but it is gorgeous. Like it looks so good. And I can say that about a lot of the Alien movies is as they get on, they get less than, but they usually look really damn good. So there's a reason to watch any and all of them for at least some aspect of that. Alien 3 has the unfortunate thing of it. You will love it or hate it within the opening credits. Okay. And if you haven't got the spoiler for this, is basically everyone dies except Ripley at the very opening credits. So the ship's malfunctioning, things are happening, smoke, fire, emergency, and Newt Hicks dead. So anything that you loved about Aliens, everyone was just instantly
aliens.
Right. It just erased all the heroes and everyone you wanted to see for the next movie.
You think at a certain point they'd be like, yeah, we're not going into outer space ever again? Especially like Ripley. I'd be like, I am grounded for the rest of my life. Like,
yeah, it definitely, I mean, I was following this so closely. I had all these Alien magazines and stuff that was talking about the development of this movie and all the different versions of it. And William Gibson, who wrote Neuromancer, had a pitch version of it. And there was a Wooden Planet version with monks and all these crazy different ideas. And they ended up kind of distilling that into this prison planet where she is kind of recovers and is trapped in there kind of thing with an alien queen in her. So she's going to die. She has an alien queen in her. Another alien gets loose. Of course, comes out of a dog. So it's kind of like this weird little dog shaped thing and really angular. And so it looks really great. I mean, it's this beautifully orange, mucky film. Really great atmosphere, very dirty and filthy. The alien, they used a puppet kind of maquette for it, so it looked really weird the way it would move.
Okay.
And just it had just a really great look and vibe about it. Now, again, right out the gate, if you're upset that your heroes from the previous movie are all dead, you're off to a bad start. For me, I was just like, oh my god, what the hell did you just pull on me? Like I was like, oh, wow, 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 wow. This pulled no punches like right out of the gate.
No
Because
apologies.
I was so psyched to see it. Okay, so there's a funny little story to go with Alien 3. So it was coming to theaters. We were going to go opening night. Now, where I live, we have two theaters, and they're about 40 minutes apart from one another in this little town. So we live in. My best friend, who was also obsessed with aliens with me, he's about a year or two younger than me. And when we got to the theater for the first night screening, he wasn't 18. It was rated R, and they wouldn't let him in. And we're like, you're kidding me. Like, we drove 40 minutes to get to this theater.
Yeah.
And we were arguing with the management and everything like that. Like, he's going like, what am I going to see in here that's going to traumatize me? Come on, let me in. And I was like, I'm older than he is. I'm going to be his parental guardian. I'll trust me. I'll deal with his issues that come out of this. But they wouldn't let him in. We actually had to call his parents to drive 40 minutes to come in so he can catch the second showing of it.
Oh, geez. Good on them for doing that.
Yeah, they're good. They're good people. So we did get to finally see it in a very dumb roundabout way because his birthday was like a month away and he would have been 18. So
that's terrible. That is.
Somebody was power tripping at the theater.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
From a counterpoint legal perspective, it's like rules is rules.
Rules is rules.
Like,
I know.
That's I think that's one of those things. Like, of all of the things that it's like there's an age limit on, it's kind of like rated R movies are one of those ones where even I'm kind of like, all right, look, like I don't know the ramifications. Like, do they lose, like, if they get caught doing that? Like, what are the actual ramifications? Like, I know if you sell like alcohol or tobacco to kids underage, there's like legal ramifications and finances, like and fines and stuff. But like, what are the actual ramifications?
We'll never know.
It's R for restricted. It's not you have to be 18 or older to watch it, like an NC-17. It's rated R.
Yeah.
What's the difference between him just saying go in and his parents showing up, buying the ticket, and then leaving?
Yeah, I'm going to see Toy Story, and then you go into the movie you want to see.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there would have been too much. I think, like you said, just a little power trip.
I think is all it was. In any case, we got into the second screening, and I mean, I loved it. It was very mixed reviews. I would spend probably the next 5 hours after the movie arguing with everyone I went with about why it was great and why they were wrong. And I've spent many years since defending Alien 3. I mean, I get why people would have their issues with it and stuff like that, but I mean, I don't know if I just looking at it differently through like different eyes kind of thing of just knowing what it went through, knowing this is this guy's first film. I mean, even David Fincher hates it, which is unfortunate because it's doing a disservice to it in a way that, But yeah, I listened to the audiobook. I read the books. I bought the comics. Anything I could. It was just more. It was great.
It's funny. Even though I've never seen Alien 3, that was my first introduction to the Alien franchise. Through the action figures. I saw them I saw that. I think they were Kenner, and I saw them on the toy shelf, and I thought they were super cool, and I bought a couple. And it's one of those things where rated R movie, yeah, let's market it to kids, just like Terminator and RoboCop.
Yeah, won't let you in to see it, but
yeah, but you can buy all the figures.
Oh yeah,
that's one of those things where you're like, I think you might be like the first person who likes Alien 3, but explaining the reasoning. Well, that I've met. Let me rephrase that. Like, but I'm the other guy. I'm that guy for like most other movies. People are like, how could you like that movie? I'm like, because I can look past these minute problems that you're having, and I can understand it. Like,
Yeah.
if the reason people hate it is because all the people died in the beginning, and I'm like, okay, but what about the
So it
rest of
wasn't what
it?
you expected. Big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
My
And
friends
that's
call me an apologist for these things that I like so much, and I'm like, I can see the flaws with it, but I can still appreciate it for what it is, and
right.
like a lot of things, if I enjoyed the ride, then it makes up for the fact that certain things didn't sit
Yeah,
well with
and I
me.
mean, if you like it, why wouldn't you defend it? You
Yeah,
know. So I don't
yeah.
blame anyone for that. And like you said, that's the way I am when I go into movies. Right. I
Hmm.
want to be entertained. I don't need a Grammy or not Grammy, an Oscar winning
Right.
performance or a Grammy winning song in the soundtrack, but I want to
No,
be entertained,
all
and if they can do
Grammys.
that, then
Okay.
all for them.
Soundtrack. Now you mentioned a soundtrack. Alien Resurrection was coming to theaters. I was also again very excited. I was living in Ottawa, Ontario at the time, working in animation, and a local radio station had a promotion there, like a contest,
Yeah,
and it was to win advanced screening tickets to Alien Resurrection. And what you would win
nice.
was tickets, the soundtrack on CD, and an advanced screening of Alien. Of course, I was on the phone, like,
Yeah,
and the question was something about like what the director of Alien, what other movies did he do? And I was like, Blade Runner, blah blah blah, blah. And so I won tickets, and
nice, awesome.
took a buddy of mine, got the soundtrack. I was getting all excited listening to the soundtrack, and like, this is really good music. And then we went to see it, and when we walked out of that movie, like he couldn't stand up. He was laughing so hard about what a piece of shit that was. And, like you didn't even have to pay for that. That was terrible. Um, Now my take on Alien Resurrection is, and I just rewatched it yesterday just to kind of like while I was working, I just put it in the background.
Sure, yeah,
Uh, Again, visually, they've got another like Ridley Scott, James Cameron, David Fincher, and Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who most people wouldn't know, but he's a phenomenal French film director. He did one of my favorite films called Amélie. He did a lot of weird movies like Delicatessen, City of Lost Children, and other very weird, very quirky French movies.
okay.
But visually, holy smokes, this guy can, but he doesn't speak a lot of English. They didn't. This is his first big budget Hollywood movie, and it was written by Joss Whedon. So you think that could be good, and it pulled a lot of things from some of the Dark Horse comics. I could see like elements of this and that. The whole premise is, they thousands of years or hundreds of years in the future, they've cloned Ripley from the blood samples from the prison planet where they had gotten access to that or something, and they cloned her so they could get the queen out of her, and then have eggs aliens and use it for whatever. It's getting to be a bit of a stretch at this point, but whatever. Sigourney Weaver was on board. I think she was executive producing the film, so she had her reasons for that. But it was also her last Alien movie, and thank God. By the end of the movie, there's a moment, and even I, like to this day, every time I've seen it, and I've watched it many times, I just can't get past it. I can't. The last 20 minutes of that movie is just awful. Everything up and before that, I can be okay. Like a lot of things, I'm just watching like the Star Wars stuff. I'm always watching it, and I love Star Wars. I'm like, that's the story you decided to tell? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. But yeah, so the last 20 minutes of Alien Resurrection is just don't. Like the rest of the movie is great. 20 minutes left in your film, just shut it off.
Set a timer, just turn it off.
Just save
think,
yourself. It's so cringy.
I'm not gonna lie, you're making me want to watch it now. Like more than
I want you to watch it.
I've ever wanted
Up until the last 20 minutes.
in my life.
Yeah. No, I want you to watch it for yourself to just and there's an underwater sequence, and it's great because it looks so good, but they hold their breath for about 7 or 8 minutes straight, and it just loses all believability.
You can't do that? Come
apparently
on.
not. I've never,
I could do that.
swimming, shooting, screaming underwater, and then 8 minutes later you're still going.
I did that yesterday.
Man,
Right?
it's just me, I guess. Us Canadians can't hold our breath for very long.
It's because the Canadian water, it's different. It's got a different oxygen
It's
level.
kind of red.
Right.
It's, yeah.
See? But
Anyway, please watch it again. See for yourself. If you can suffer for the last 20 minutes, I
can
applaud
suffer
you.
through anything.
Challenge accepted.
Like that's it. Like I can actively. There's one movie I've watched in its entirety, and even now I'm like going like thinking about it. I'm like, maybe I should give it a second watch, but I vowed never to watch it.
What is this?
Again, it was called Sneakers.
Okay.
Like, I watched that movie. I was like,
is it a pair of shoes going around killing people?
No.
Oh man,
but it's
missed opportunity.
No,
choking people out with its laces and stuff.
That's
It'd be
called
awesome.
rubber, dude. That's called rubber, and it's a tire.
Yes,
a murderous tire. But no, it's got Dan Aykroyd and like a number of other people. Like, and I'm like, it was just weird. I had to struggle getting through it, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Somehow Dan Aykroyd keeps drawing you in, though.
Right?
Dan Aykroyd.
But a number of people in the past like 15 years since I watched it, almost 20 years now, have been like, no, it's a great movie. And I'm like, maybe I should give it a second chance. But I can find most movies some redeeming quality about it.
All right.
And enjoy it for what it is. Is it what I wanted in some cases? It's not. But I could try to find some redeeming quality in most cinematic features. Even if it is just like the soundtrack, like you said. That's the thing I miss. Like being so hyped for a movie, buying the soundtrack like a month in advance, so that by the time you get to the theater, you know all the songs.
Oh yeah.
I miss that, right? Like I miss that. I think I did that with like Batman Forever. The one with Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, was that the one that had the U2 song in it?
Yeah, U2 and Seal.
Oh man.
And a number of other songs,
right.
But yeah. But that one, like, but that's it. Is like I can find some sort of redeeming quality, and I can look past most things that stop people. Like I could just power through it somehow, and I don't know how.
Well, I mean, Alien Resurrection, the thing at the end is the newborn creature. Sorry, Mike, spoiler. The queen was given a human womb as part of Ripley's DNA crossing into Ripley, and it birthed this big white creature. And it's just kind of like Joss Whedon was, I think, how do we do something new and cool that isn't the queen? And they created this really weird and ugly creature that was going and then killing. It was so bad. It was just unforgivable. Every time I was in the theater just like, why is this happening? And then I've never been able to get through it and enjoy it.
The theater let out a collective groan at the same time.
Some real cringy dialogue and all that. But anyway, visually, great looking movie.
I don't think I realized that Whedon wrote that movie.
Yeah. Yep. Got his name on the screen, so I mean, could be like committee to some degree, but yeah. So after that, I mean, that's kind of like the 4 movies. That's the main Alien thing. It's got Sigourney Weaver in it. You've got 2 excellent movies. That's all you really need. Anything after that is what's happened with Star Wars and all that. It's just more now.
Yeah.
And more can be good or bad depending on what you're going to get. Like James Bond, not all of them are going to hit, but there's more to come.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I looked at it now. Is just like, I'm happy to get more. I'm here for more. I'm your target demographic. You put out Alien versus Predator, I went to see it. I went to see the sequel. Those are ones I could actually have to rewatch again because I haven't seen them in a long, long time. They didn't leave that much of an impression on me. But I think the thing that I guess tickled everybody's imagination was, of course, you had Predator. And Predator 2 is one of those movies that it's a bad movie most people like, and it's a bad movie I can't handle. I just can't deal with that movie. But at the very end, Danny Glover is in the Predator spaceship, and you see a wall of skulls, and one of the skulls is a giant alien skull.
Yep.
And so it's like, whoa, crossover. And, of course, that kicked off the whole Dark Horse Comics, Alien versus Predator comics, which eventually led to the movies being made.
Nice, that's cool.
And so, yeah, I was always just kind of like, I wanted to see those 2 monsters kind of cross over, the Freddy versus Jason kind of thing, you know?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Not every kind of creature needs to fight every creature. Like, we don't need a Freddy versus Alien movie, right?
Right.
Please
No.
don't do that. But like Freddy versus Jason kind of made sense. Alien versus Predator kind of makes sense.
It's the ultimate hunter versus the ultimate prey. I think that's why
Yeah.
it works. It works so well on multiple levels.
And that's and I enjoyed it. And didn't they do like different endings for that movie in different theaters?
It's entirely possible.
I feel like
Where I obsessed about aliens and I had to see all the cutscenes of the sentry guns in the hallway that were only on the TV version, you know? I haven't done that with Alien versus Predator yet. But I probably
Alien
will.
versus Predator, I think, had multiple different endings depending on the theater.
Yeah.
Like Clue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think Alien wins in one, Predator wins in the other. And I was like, maybe I'm making it up. Maybe I'm thinking it was a different movie entirely. I don't know. Now I'm confused. Now I'm confusing my own self, and I'm not going to Google it. And I'll wait for somebody to fact check me.
Backtracking to Alien 3 for a second. Remember I telling you I was saying how they had so many different versions of this thing, and the one that they had William Gibson had written. Everyone had in their imagination that we were robbed. You know, that we were given Alien 3, we could have had some other movie by William Gibson, the author of Neuromancer, and it was going to be incredible. And then a couple years ago, they put out an audio version of it, like based on the script. I think that Alan D. Foster probably wrote an adaptation, and it was acted out. And Dark Horse Comics also did like the Alien 3 William Gibson version. It's awful. It's terrible. Like we were not robbed. You can
dodge the bullet. All right.
Yeah, you actually got a better movie than you would have had if that was your option, because it was just a whole lot of like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Jesus. Well, that's good. That's good. That's a silver lining there. And
yeah, so whatever you imagined you could have had, you got better than that. Believe it or not.
Okay.
We won in that.
Yeah,
we won.
Yeah.
I think. Years and years, sometime in the 90s, like you mentioned the video game Alien 3. I have a vague recollection of playing that game and not liking it like at all.
It was terrible.
It was okay, so I'm not wrong.
But no, it was awful.
But there was this Alien versus Predator game for Super Nintendo that was a lot of fun. But it was years before like the first person shooter Alien versus Predator. It was like this weird side scroller, and I remember renting it from my local video store and having a lot of fun with it over multiple rentings and enjoying it. And people are like, you mean the one that just came out? I'm like, no, this is from like the 90s, and people don't remember it. And I'm like,
I remember the first Alien versus Predator game I remember seeing came out from this system called Jaguar, which I think was Atari's attempt at trying to do
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
The 64-bit Jaguar with a controller that was somehow bigger than the original Xbox controller. And it had like a full number pad on it.
Yeah, it's like in television all over.
Mine's over there.
I did play
got
the
it at
Alien
TV Toys for $30 when they were clearancing them out.
I did play a lot of the video games for PlayStation. I got the Aliens versus Predator, the Aliens Colonial Marines, the Alien Isolation, which is one of the scariest games I've ever played. Oh my god, that game was just nerve-wrackingly good.
Yeah, nice. I've never played any of those, so I've heard good things about that one.
Alien Isolation is a very, very long game, and there's like an alien on board a spaceship. And basically you can't kill it. You just have to hide from it. And every time you move, you make a sound, and it hears you and kills you instantly. So all you can do is kind of run and hide for a very, very long time, your way through a spaceship until you can kind of get out of it. But the design of the game was phenomenally well done. They got all the blueprints and schematics and all the artwork from Alien and Aliens, and recreated a lot of this stuff. So the visuals were phenomenal on it. The atmosphere was really great. It was just this very quiet, moody thing, like you would be walking around in an abandoned spaceship and there's a creature on there that's hunting you.
That's
Really,
cool.
really well. You would hear it, like the sound design was so good because you would hear it like moving through the pipes above you. So you'd have to be really
Oh,
quiet or it would kill you, rip a door off and find you, you know? And the
that's cool.
problem, the absolute worst thing about it, because if you remember, Alien was very clunky 1970s tech.
Yep.
So in the video game, you to save, you had to find a save point, like this great big thing on the wall, and they made it really slow. So you're trying to be super quiet, and you have to pull up this
Oh
big data
man.
card, and it goes chunk into the thing, and now it's made a noise, so the alien hears you. Pull down the thing and do this whatever. So it takes, you know, 5, 6, 7 seconds to save your game. Meanwhile, you've just alerted the alien. And that happened to me at one point, and the alien saved right behind me. So
Oh man.
I died, and then when it rebooted from your last save point, I died again, like instantly. I just kept trying to just move out of the way far enough to kind of like get around it and hopefully
Oh,
survive long
that
enough to.
sucks.
It took
It's
a
like the
while,
worst save state ever.
Yeah,
for
you're in an infinite death loop.
emulators.
Oh.
pretty much, and I was pretty far into the game, like 15 hours at that point. So
Oh. Oh.
I know, like
This-
yeah, I played all those games. I loved all of that stuff. It's just great. Just immerse myself in that environment.
Nice. It sounds cool. It sounds like that one. It harnesses the feeling of the original movie, right? Just
Big time.
alone in space, confined, like a closed
Yeah.
box, like claustrophobic feel and stuff like that.
Very, very much. Yeah, the smoke, the lights, the vibe. It was a real little throwback to the original Alien.
Yeah, that's cool.
And there's really nothing you could do except survive and hide. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. I recommend that one. All right. So we should get into Prometheus now. We should be moving through the Pantheon. Should we get to that?
I was just gonna say, let's rewind a little bit chronologically.
All right.
With Prometheus. I loved how when that was coming out, how they tried to pull a fast one over everybody. Oh no, it's not an alien movie. It's not an alien movie. It's just a space movie, whatever. And they try to market it as such, and no one was buying that for a minute.
Yeah.
I think that movie pissed me off a little bit. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the prequels for they are prequels. But I think my issue with Prometheus is I was looking forward to like the whole thing was the Whaling Company. They're sending them out in outer space to find a meaning for life, pretty much, right? Like, why are we here? Yeah. And they go out there, they find the engineers, and there's really no creative answer, right? I know the movie starts off with the answer pretty much, but there's nothing beyond that. It's just, okay, an alien lands on this planet, commits suicide, blood gets in the water, creates life. Like, great. I wanted them to have like a creative, like more out of the box idea or explanation of why life was created, or why, like, the answer why for them in that universe.
Yeah, they did not touch on that at all.
Yeah, that's the only thing that like irritated me, but everything else I enjoyed that movie.
I think again, another gorgeous movie. The visuals on that are phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I really liked about Prometheus was it wasn't just doing another alien movie. It was doing something different. It had a feel and a vibe to it that was reminiscent of it, but it was taken in a totally different direction, in a totally different place. And it was less about the aliens, and it was more about, kind of this weird evolution, from the engineers to humans to AI with the David. And it's a cycle of creation, and who's the creator of the creation, and all these various hierarchies or whatever. But so I mean, it was exploring something new instead of just doing another monster movie. It had a little bit more thought going into it. So that's what really got me kind of like interested in, is like, at least you tried something new. Whether I agree with all your choices, especially some of the choices that the scientists make with space cobras, and do not pet the space cobra. Let's just say.
That
Yep.
sounds like one of those sci-fi movies from Asylum.
Well, if you're on an alien planet and you're supposed to be an intelligent scientist and a cobra type alien creature is hissing at you, you don't try and pet it.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of things that happened because the plot said it had to, or we wouldn't have got anywhere.
Now,
so yeah.
Was Prometheus, was that the one where it ends with like the xenomorph inside the girl's stomach, right? And she like went on the bed or whatever, the surgical bed, and it pulled it out of her. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I was remembering and then it's the pre-bishop, the alien in this one, or not the alien, the robot in this one. Yeah. He was trying to cultivate the aliens or something, right? The eggs, or
that's in the Covenant.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it had some interesting stuff going on in it, where it did or didn't succeed in certain places. I still liked it, just I think because it was in that world but different. It was trying to do something different.
Yeah.
And just today, I've been spending most of the day watching Covenant in the background, and I've gotten most of the way through it. And I feel like, again, gorgeous looking movie, but unfortunately feels like Ridley Scott was just like, you wanted Alien, and I was trying to do something new. So fuck you. Here's your Alien movie, and anything that was interesting of what they were trying to build, they just kind of like shot out into space. Anything that was interesting about Prometheus, which was trying to build or create, some of these ideas didn't really get explored very well. They kind of just gave you the alien and said, shut up. It gave you what you wanted.
Yeah.
Which I feel like made it lesser of a movie,
Interesting.
So,
I can see how that goes though. If you're if it's trying, that happens way too often. Is really people want this, and then they get that, and then they get mad at that, and then everybody's like, but that's what you literally asked us for this, right? But we wanted it different. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like,
we want fanfare, but not that fanfare, okay?
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, totally.
And
we could totally get into Last Jedi if we need to for a moment.
I was gonna go Solo. Like everybody wanted the Solo, the story behind Han Solo, and then everybody hated Solo, and I'm like, but why?
Yeah.
Like, it was it a cinematic masterpiece? It was not, but did it give you the information you wanted? Yes, it did.
Yeah, but
it did.
I think we talked about it. They tried to do too much in it. I think that was the thing.
That's the general consensus.
They tried to do too much, and a lot of it there wasn't enough payoff or earned payoff.
Yeah.
Like his relationship with Lando and all that, and Chewie, like everything was just like rushed through.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did have redeeming qualities. I think they cast Donald Glover perfectly as
oh my
Lando,
god, you couldn't do better than that. He was phenomenal.
The pikes and two tubes and all that, those were like the gangs, those were phenomenally designed and stuff. They did a good job with that.
Yeah.
Should we ripping off dude's arms and beating him with them?
Nope.
I'd still think that was like, no offense to anything else that happens in the movie, but watching Chewbacca just be like,
I think I don't know where you guys stand on it, but I'm one of with the exception of the Canto Bight sequence, I'm a big fan of The Last Jedi. I liked what they did, something kind of like Prometheus. They did something new. Like JJ came back and just gave you Star Wars again. And it's like, why are we still fighting the Empire and all this? Okay, this is a story you chose to tell us, I guess. But all of a sudden it was taking us in some new direction with The Last Jedi. Like, again, looked great. You could really cut some sequences here and there. But what they did with Luke and stuff, actually, I thought was pretty good. Like, it's kind of what the Jedi do. They go and hide, like Yoda did on a planet somewhere. And...
So with I didn't like The Last Jedi.
No, I know most people don't.
I mean, so one of the big reasons is you take out half of that movie and it doesn't change anything, right? Like you said, the Canto Bight and all that stuff. Finn was useless in it. Rose was useless in it. Yeah. They had no purpose. They were just, like Ryan Johnson's probably like, well, they were in the last movie. I got to write them into this one. I need something for them to do. So that felt just, wasted trash. And then you gotta, think how many years do people wait from what is 83 for Return of the Jedi or 84 until The Force Awakens comes out, and it's been all these years, 30 whatever years, and holy shit, here's Luke Skywalker again. He's back, and you get that tiny little tease at the end of the Force Awakens. But then the first thing he does in The Last Jedi is just shit on him by throwing that lightsaber, and it was just.
Let me show you something here. I bought the original art page where Luke throws the lightsaber away from the comic adaptation by Mike Walsh for The Last Jedi. So that's the original comic page for that. I thought that'd be the funniest page to own.
See, funniest. It should you just shat on all these people who've been dying to see Luke Skywalker after all these years. I'm okay with him being a little recluse in his own world, drinking blue milk and all that stuff. That's fine. Green milk. But whatever. I'm colorblind. Not
it's
really,
like
but, it's just that being the first real introduction to Luke Skywalker after all these years. It was, I did like the whole battle on the salt planet and stuff like that. That was visually beautiful. Seeing it change to red and all that. That was great.
So
but other than that, like you take out half the movie and it doesn't affect anything. And then what they did with Luke in that aspect of making it a joke. The first thing is it's a joke. Yeah. And I didn't like that.
I think this has been done to death, Star Wars, sequels. Like, if they had a plan, maybe they could have done something cohesive. But they went, I don't know how Disney went in that with no idea what they were doing from movie to movie. And it just it just shows all over the thing. It's just, you did this, I changed what you did, I undid what you did. It's all a mess. None of it.
And I'm changing it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, and that and the fact that JJ started, he had a trilogy supposedly, and he did the Force. So I said supposedly, okay. He did the Force Awakens
trilogy, supposedly,
and then Ryan Johnson did The Last Jedi, and how many times do they say someone here or there? The whole trope of Star Wars is I've got a bad feeling about this. Mm-hmm. How many times in that movie is the words uttered, this isn't going to go how you expected? It's Ryan Johnson pretty much giving everyone a middle finger saying, like, I'm upending Star Wars. And it's, just kind of saying I'm doing my own thing.
And then The Rise of Skywalker is like probably the worst thing I've ever seen in Star Wars. I can't handle that movie at all.
Fanfare up the ass. Fanfare up the ass for sure.
I told my friend about it, and he's like, "Space horses." Oh, I'm out. I don't want to watch that.
Yeah. We got Ewoks back in it. Like that's a plus at least.
You got the Goonies knife showing you where the map is. And
yeah.
That made sense.
I didn't hate that movie. I liked it better than The Last Jedi.
Really? Yeah.
Mainly because I wanted fanfare, right? Like it's like it's Star Wars, right? I'm like, I don't care. It's fucking Star Wars. Just give me fanfare. Oh, Chewie finally got his Coruscant medal. Like beautiful. I love that.
That was long overdue.
It was.
Yeah, that could have been the entire movie. And
it's just it's a 15-minute short.
Yeah.
Coordination of him just getting the medal.
They could have done an episode, but
I thought a lot of it was lazy with the whole Palpatine shit. I'll agree with that, but I like the opening sequence of him on Exegol. I like that, of Kylo going to Exegol to find him and stuff. Like I like how it was dark and eerie and that whole thing. But just the fact that we've got how many TV shows at this point just working to explain.
Yeah, that's the problem.
The sequels.
David Filoni's got his work cut out for him to try to knit all that together and make sense, right?
And that's all they've been doing. That's all they've been doing.
Yeah, and again, I'm the demographic who's here for it, whether it's all good or bad. I think we're deep into the more territory now. Like, I like Ahsoka, but I'm like, this also looks like glorified cosplay.
In the same aspect, going back to the aliens thing, I think it's kind of like that's the way you're describing like Prometheus and stuff is like it's set in here, but it's kind of like this, but it's really more about this over here, and I'm trying to tell you something else. And then bouncing back to Star Wars, I also didn't hate The Last Jedi. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was funny when he threw. It's like, here we've done all this work to you, and he's like, yeet, and I was like, but I think that was.
I love how divisive that movie is. That is like that just tells you which side of the fence people are on, and it's going to be a. There's no resolving this between people. Like you can never.
That scene was them just shitting on fans. Like, oh, you want to see this for how many years? Fuck you. No,
screw you, buddy.
I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see this on my phone here, right?
The Acolyte.
The Acolyte. Okay, there's a little island there, right?
Yeah.
There it is, right there.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
Nice.
So it's a little island in Portugal that I was hiking on my 50th birthday about a couple of years ago, and I was like,
"You're over 50."
Yeah, 51. So I was hiking this island, and as I was hiking it, I was like a couple days from leaving it. They were talking. I'd actually driven past some film crews, and I was like, "Oh, neat! Like this is a beautiful place to be filming anything. It's gorgeous." And then as I was leaving, like the news broke that they were shooting Star Wars: The Acolyte on this island.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, "Holy crap!" So the first promotional piece that came out was that poster, and I went, "I wonder," and I just looked at my thing, and that was like the very first day of one of my hikes was that selfie with that mountain in the background, awesome. The exact same thing.
Usually people seek out those locations afterwards, but you were like there. I
was there before it was
They copied you. They copied you.
I was there before it was the thing.
I loved.
They owe you royalties.
I loved the Stranger in The Acolyte.
He was well done.
Phenomenal character. Oh my god, his lightsaber moves, the way he used the Force, everything.
I had my reservations about that for a good chunk of it, and there's some episodes that really just But when you can kind of see it as a whole, like I gave it a good 6.5 out of 10 kind of thing.
Sure.
Like, not going to blow your mind, but not the worst thing you've ever seen either, right?
Yeah. It's funny that we ended up on Star Wars because thinking about Aliens, they kind of went along with the same formula, right? We have the original Alien, Aliens 3, Resurrection, and then, okay, let's do some prequels. So we got Prometheus and Covenant, and now we're getting the Rogue One, which is Romulus.
Yeah, Romulus. Alien, it's kind of like, did you like Alien? Did you like Aliens? Well, get ready for that.
Yeah.
Together, more. We're still in more territory. I tend to try to avoid a lot of trailers because I don't want to see any spoilers and stuff like that or just know too much. But I mean, again, it looks good. It looks like it might be definitely on the horror side of things, but it looks like it's doing what it's done before, which is, a big backpedal from where Prometheus was taking things. So like, it's not doing anything new. It's doing exactly what you want it to do. And how can we creep you out with that? And I mean, maybe that's all you want in some cases,
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not necessarily bad, but...
Yeah, it's not necessarily bad.
I mean, with it being in between those two movies, we can't expect it to advance the franchise too far, obviously, but it could definitely entertain us, and I think that's the important part.
Is it a weird middle movie?
I think so.
It's like 1.5, pretty much.
Yeah, it's got the kind of... It has the look of Alien, but a little bit of the tech of Aliens. So somewhere in there, it kind of tries to find a middle ground.
Well, it takes place between Alien and Aliens.
Yeah, so there you go.
Oh, does it?
So yeah.
So I'm with Troy though, because I years ago just stopped watching trailers. Like back to Last Jedi for just a split second. I never saw like. I think that movie coming out was around the time I just stopped. Because I never saw a trailer for that and didn't see the movie for like until probably right before episode 9 came out. Like I lasted I just happened to go like a whole year or two. And anyway, but that's it. Is like I just stopped watching trailers, so I actually I'm more in the know of the marketing campaign for Romulus than I am actually the trailers.
I saw New York had a bunch of people wearing facehuggers with the pulsating lungs and stuff like that.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
they did like they did the marketing campaign where it's like actually getting people out there and involved, and I thought that part kind of, I'm like, that I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Let's do more.
You know what we
of
need?
that.
We need an alien Romulus flash mob. That's what we need.
No.
Just everyone falls down in chest bursts.
That'd be awesome.
Hope they were paid well for that role.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a one-time gig, right?
Yeah, no, that looks like fun.
I'm
gonna go see it. I can't wait to see it. I have no expectations, but that's probably the best way to go into it, is to just be like,
yep.
You put the word alien on it, it's got facehuggers and aliens, and that's kind of where I've been on board since day one.
Right.
You know, so if you keep making more, I'll keep going.
I'm hoping it leans more on the horror side for sure. Like, you know, what? I love Alien for that, right? It's the closed, claustrophobic horror aspect of it. That's good. And then you have the action aliens. But I like the horror aspect, I think, a little bit more for this franchise. You know, I'd rather have that than, you know, an action shoot 'em up and, you know, with the Space Marines, even though arguably I probably like Aliens better than Alien.
They're so different that it's almost hard to say, you know, like to compare them. Which is the great thing about it. It isn't just a retread of it so close you can say I like one better than the other. They're just totally different takes on the same kind of thing. The thing I loved about it is like James Cameron did such a good job expanding on Alien. Like it took a lot of these vagary things and gave you a little bit more. So you have this, I want to say lore or whatever like this, but you know, so it adds to what was, it builds on what came before. And the thing I liked about Alien 3 too, which when it introduced the dog chest burster, I was like, oh wait, these things kind of take on the DNA of the host. So it's more dog-like and animal-like the way it moves. Like, well, that's something I didn't realize. We've only seen it come out of humans. So then when you get Aliens versus Predator, they took that idea and kind of gave you what happens if a Predator-alien hybrid happens, you know? So I hope Romulus brings something to it. I noticed they got the little Weyland-Yutani symbols on their outfits. So like what's, you know, more about the company or something might be interesting, at least if you're not going to go too far into, you know, new aliens and the whole life cycle, then what about this world outside of it? You've only ever really seen the alien planets and not really the system of the world that they live in at this point.
Which, I mean, like you said, the life cycle, that's also one thing I like about the whole franchise is like you kind of see the evolution of the xenomorph.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how it became a xenomorph in Prometheus, right? Like that was the birth of the xenomorph in that movie, which is cool. But, you know, going from the eggs to the face huggers to, you know, chest burster that becomes the xenomorph and stuff. Like I like how they give us like that kind of explanation, right? Yeah. I like when it's not world building, but you know, it's character building. And I like that a lot about these movies.
Have you ever seen the cut scene where Dallas is being cocooned into an egg from Alien?
I don't think so.
You can actually find this. They actually filmed the sequence. If you can't find stills, you can find probably the sequence because they did. So this would totally ruin all the James Cameron stuff. Potentially was. So Dallas, when he's going through the tunnels, and you know, Alien comes out and scares him, and you never see Dallas again. Yeah. Well, Ripley's going through at one point through the ship, and she finds Dallas, and he's being turned into an egg, like he's all cocooned, kind of into like a little thing like this, going kill me, you know, kill me, and he's taken on the egg form. So that's kind of, I guess, implying that that's how they turned into eggs. Some of them. Anyway, she tortures them, and that's that for Dallas.
That's how they made the face huggers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the original idea, but they cut that sequence so then James Cameron could invent the Queen in a sense without having to contradict anything.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. If you know, depending on what type of species he was, you know, inspired by, a queen makes sense. Pumping out eggs.
Yeah, that's such a great design. Love that creature.
Yeah,
The Queen.
yeah.
Yeah,
They upped the puppetry on that too.
oh, it looks so good. I've got the Todd McFarlane toy. It's great, big, huge alien queen.
Yeah,
Got that in my bathroom.
nice. And the bathroom, like
Yeah, in the
like
bathroom.
one does.
Yeah, it's kind of really heavy, so I had to like drill it on, and then I got a Funko Pop of Ripley, and it's kind of like leaning over. So
I was
kind of
gonna
a
ask you. I was gonna ask if you went on any of the merchandise for like the NECA figures or anything like that.
I got a bunch of the different figures. One of them I thought was neat was designed by Dennis Bavot, who did one of the Dark Horse comics way back in the day. Like
Nice.
the second Dark Horse series was this. It was airbrush comics, so it had this really great lighting. Like it looked like aliens. And he went on to do a lot of toy design, and he did a design for one of the figurines that I've got. I didn't realize that until a couple of years ago. So that was kind of cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how they went deep with those, like the different type of xenomorphs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they pull out all kinds of like they have to get some variations on them, like especially in the video games, because you just don't want to fight the same kind of like hive alien. You have to have ones the spitter one and the bull one and all these different kind of play on the creatures and stuff just to give some variety to the bad guys.
Yeah, for sure. Cool designs though. I mean, all of them are super cool.
Yeah, my buddy went to Switzerland last year, and he went to the Giger Museum, where they actually have the full original screen used costume from Alien.
No shit.
It's all cool. Like, decaying latex and stuff. Like it looks like hell.
Yeah,
but
it's like the turtle puppets.
oh my god, those things are nightmarish. I'd seen one of those at Meltdown Comics one time, and it was a zombie apocalypse for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh my
god,
those
like
old Turtles uniforms. Oh, okay.
Oh my god, they're some
the old '90s uniforms that they wore. They're just like all the rubber is like dried out and decayed and stuff, and like the teeth and mechanics are starting to be exposed, and it's definitely nightmare fuel.
Totally nightmare fuel. Yeah, 100%. There's a great thing on YouTube, and it's pretty old now, but if you haven't seen it, it's Aliens on Ice.
No way, come on.
It was a low budget theater troupe that can't skate, that did a full on production of Aliens on Ice. And you need to go watch it right as soon as we're done talking here.
The important part is low budget.
Oh my god, it's phenomenal having Ripley and the aliens skating around each other. It's so good. It's honestly so great.
They somehow weirdly got
Sigourney Weaver's
actually involved, and
oh my god, yes, this is some overweight guy in overalls with a wig. Like it's like a cardboard drop ship that they're carrying along. It's crashing. It's so great. Aliens on Ice. Check it out. There's a sequence in Alien 3 that they cut. I wish they'd kept in. If you ever read the novelization, which I'm sure you will. They actually there's a big sequence where they're trying to trap the alien, and they're like putting all this stuff on the ground and setting it on fire or whatever. They actually catch it, and the crazy guy Golic, he keeps calling it the dragon, and in the book he goes and he's the one who opens the door and lets it out again. But it's a really cool sequence in the book. It's like, man, it'd be cool if they actually did that in the movie. But oh well, there's all those cut scenes that they didn't do. But I remember seeing that first time I'd watched Aliens on TV, and they had the extra footage, and I was completely unprepared for that. So the sentry guns in the hallways and things like that.
Yeah, which is weird that was not the theatrical. That was the TV.
And the whole sequence with Newt's family and stuff, like, which is a massive amount of footage that they produced.
I enjoy those.
Oh,
I think
great.
the first time it really hit me that happens, I think was like Harry Potter, the first one time, and I was like, what are these scenes? I've seen this movie like a dozen times. What are these? And it's like a weird extended cut that played on like ABC Family or whatever it was. But I enjoy it when they do that type of thing where it's like a very specific version that every once in a while you happen to see. I think the same. No, you know what? It was Goonies. It was Goonies. The first time I saw the octopus, like, it was an octopus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the first time I saw the octopus scene was on TV. Like it wasn't on the original cut of the movie.
This is the one that's got
And
10 extra minutes of the truffle shuffle.
is that the cut of it?
That's the truffle shuffle edition.
The truffle edition.
I need to what? I don't know if I've seen that. I've seen Goonies a lot.
I'm making shit up. It's
oh,
just,
that would be
it's
fantastic.
when the guy pulls up
You
his
got
shirt
me.
and does a truffle shuffle.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Oh man,
you know what's
I
great
was
is
excited.
sorry to ruin you for
admit,
that.
For all the hate that Teen Titans Go got from people, one of the best episodes is when they like do a parody of the Goonies, and Robin is Chunk, and he's trying to get to like the Titans Tower, and there's the fence, and they're like, "You gotta do the booty scooty first," and Robin's just like, "Fine," and he like arches back, sticks his butt out, and it's his butt flapping while they sing the booty scooty song. Like it's so good.
I love Teen Titans Go. My God, they're
funny. Oh, dude, it's brilliant. I love it. It got so much hate because it wasn't, Titans or Young Justice.
It wasn't Teen Titans, and I was like,
it was way better. It was so much better.
Good. So good, so meta, so like on the like
how they,
balls.
Yeah, it did a great job at making fun of itself and pointing out the fact that it's not Teen Titans, it's something different.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, the octopus was like that was it, and then I've realized what it was later in life, and I was like, oh, I don't think like it just took so long for me to see like put all the pieces together. But yeah. I know
Drew
Struzan
did he did so many versions of that poster. Did you ever see that, the artist? He did the Goonies poster where they're hanging from the stalactite and they're just, he's done one where it's a different character, like in a different row all the time. I'm not sure why, but he did so many multiple versions of that with the different staggering of it.
Interesting. Yeah. I might have seen them, but it's never like clicked. Right, that's the Goonies poster. I don't think I've ever paid attention to like who's on first or whatever.
Yeah, it's a Josh Brolin at the top or something.
Yeah, that's the one I've seen.
One.
Yeah, with someone on his back or whatever, right?
There's alternate versions that they might have just been concept versions or they've been released for different markets. I don't know, but you can find a whole bunch of different versions of that movie poster by Drew Struzan.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Like I said, the one that I always picture is the Josh Brolin on top. Because, he's the main character, so clearly, you got to get Bran up there.
I couldn't get Sloth up top.
Right?
Right?
I took a road trip with my partner and her kids, and we drove down, and it's a fantastic little town, but it has like a weird bridge like you talked about, and I was like, I hated that bridge because it's like this weird like super steep bridge, then it's like normal, and then but it felt like super weird going up and or down it, and it was creepy. Anyway, Mikey's house is like down the street from the jailhouse, and the person who owned it hated the fact that people wanted to see their house, and they came home from grocery shopping and like stopped and wouldn't let people like up to go see the house. Like people weren't trying to drive up the driveway or anything like into that area or anything. They were trying to like just take photos and look and like kind of walk up and take a picture and stuff like that, but she like stopped at the bottom and like straight up was like, no, you can't, it's private property, go away. And so there was like a dozen cars of people who were just trying to like take like be far enough away they couldn't get yelled at, and so I was one of them. I definitely drove around a number like I drove around the neighborhood to get a bunch of different angles of the house. In fact, me and my oldest kid now, we definitely got out of the car and tried to like almost like go up the embankment to like kind of come up the other side, where it's not like like a driveway. But we didn't get very far because we ended up running into like a number of people who are like, yeah, you really, and we're like, all right, fine.
It's like everyone takes pictures of Stephen King's house, right? Like I've got a picture in front of Stephen King's house. My wife's got a picture in front of Stephen King's house.
Oh,
It's just
jeez.
people go there daily, stop and take their picture outside of his house. It's like it's just iconic, right?
Yeah, it's like the Full House. You know, how many people
Yeah.
have taken a picture in front of that?
Well, that was the thing with the Goonies house is like people are like people. When I got home, I started looking it up, and like there's like an entire community be like, you bought that house, you knew what house it was. Like, why would you buy it and then get angry at all the people who want? If you were smart, you'd be like $20, you could take a photo, and I would have gladly paid $20 to take a photo in front of it. You missed, and then
I think the
2
ET
years.
house is the same.
Yeah,
The ET house, I think, gets a lot of that. People taking pictures of it.
The house they used for Walter White's house in Breaking
Oh
Bad,
yeah.
the lady just put up like a massive fence because she got tired of people throwing pizzas at the house.
Right.
And I was like, that was kind of fun. But no, the Goonies house went up for sale a couple years ago. And it wasn't, I don't remember. I don't know. I've stopped following it because it sold for like over $1 million.
Right.
I was curious just to see like what somebody did with it. Like, were they smart? Whatnot. But yeah.
If you ever get a chance to go to New Zealand, you should definitely check out Hobbiton. If you like movie sets kind of thing, like you like, wow, that place is something else. I mean, I one of my favorite movies, Amelie, and we were just in Paris there earlier this year, so I went and walked around and found all like the places where they filmed the movie, so I could get the pictures there and stuff. But more people know Lord of the Rings than Amelie, so what a cool place that was. The convention that we went to, Armageddon Expo, took all the guests out, and we just kind of had a private tour of the whole place. Phenomenally. Nice. Like when you're up at the top of the hill at Bilbo's house and you're looking out, you don't see roads, telephone poles, nothing, just rolling fields, sheep.
Nice.
It's like cool. You're in the Shire. They're growing vegetables. They're growing plants. They got little clothing up on the hang. Like it's just like the hobbits just stepped out and you came in to tour.
Yeah.
What a cool place, man. And then going to the Green Dragon Inn for a beer at the end of the tour. My wife got second breakfast on the way in at the movie.
That's awesome.
Too much food. We couldn't eat it quickly enough to get to the thing. Sheep everywhere. But yeah, it's like walking around a movie set, and it is a movie set. Like it's the real thing. Like, oh, you're coming in right where Gandalf and Frodo are at the start of the movie. I'm like, wow.
That's cool. Yeah. I'll probably never make it there, but that's cool.
It's really neat. Like some of the doors are built, like some of the Hobbit houses are built small so that the actors... Or they're built big, so the actors look small.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird forced perspective kind of thing that they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just neat to see it all, like just because it's a real living kind of place you can walk around.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
As opposed to, a back lot at some studio.
Yeah, or somebody's house where they're just trying to kick you out, like you can actually go and experience this thing and like, wow.
See, that's the genius of James Cameron, right? If it's in outer space, then he's not going to cause that issue for anybody.
Yeah. I should have brought... I got my friend of mine who's also my alien fanatic who went to the Giger Museum and all. He made me a big cardboard pulse rifle on my birthday one year.
Oh, nice.
Should have brought that up with me.
Nice.
It was actually always... Alien was always... if you've been to Disney World like 10 years ago or whatever, more than 5 years ago, there was the Hollywood movie, the Great Movie Ride, where they took you through a whole number of like different movie scenes, if you will, like and one of them was Alien. So you're kind of like, you got insert fake mafia guy cast member taking you on the tour, and all of a sudden you're on the alien spaceship and you've got like an alien kind of like pops down at you, and like you see Ripley off to the side, like hanging out and being like kind of like peeking around the corner. It was a lot of fun.
I
And
kind
for
of
people,
remember the ads for that. Yeah.
it was
Oh.
like you could find any number of video walkthroughs of the Great Movie Ride. It's no longer there. It's now like some Mickey Mouse thing that I haven't seen. But the Great Movie Ride took you like it took you through like old timey like gangster films type of thing, but then it also went into Indiana Jones, and there was like Mola Ram character, like the Stone, and Alien. And was another one that was there, and it was always fun because you could tell the people who'd been on it, because you knew the alien was going to come, like pop down, like you knew it was going to happen, and then like all the people who hadn't been on it before and didn't know, definitely you could tell when they were on the ride, because they definitely got freaked out. Or there was
Wow.
a number of people who would always constantly get freaked out, and it was always kind of funny. I'm like, like it's coming, like it's
I went
there.
to it was last March. We went to Disney for the very first time, and
World or land?
Florida World, right?
World.
Yeah. So Galaxy's Edge is one of the big things I was absolutely desperate to go to. Spent a lot of time in that day I got there, and we spent I think 5-6 days in Disney, and like the whole family agreed that Rise of the Resistance experience was like the best part of Disney. I don't know if you guys have done that,
Nice.
but
No.
don't even watch a walkthrough kind of thing if you haven't. Like we did Smuggler's Run, like the Falcon flight, and
Yeah.
that was okay, and it was kind of weird and clunky in its weird way of how you controlled it, and but the Rise of the Resistance is like a multi-aspect kind of experience you kind of go through, and it's
Nice.
so well done. So like literally all of Disney, that was all the kids could talk about, was like their favorite thing was the Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah, one of the
Nice.
last times I was in Disney was actually I had tickets to the movie premiere for Last Jedi, and I couldn't go because I booked an impromptu Disney trip and didn't realize the two overlapped. So I had to I gave my tickets to somebody else. That's why it took me forever to see the movie. But I was in MGM Studios or Hollywood Studios the day it came out, and that was kind of fun. But and doing Star Tour. So the last time I was there was basically right after the Avatar stuff came in. So I haven't seen any of the Star Wars stuff really. Like it was all under construction behind big walls last time I was there, and Toy Story Land being expanded as well.
Yeah.
It was basically just Toy Story Mania, and that was it.
It's just like walking around Star Wars. The details is really phenomenal.
Awesome. That's cool.
Just a great big pod racing engine over like a big hunk of Rancor meat that's cooking at the cafeteria. Like everywhere you look, there's like little details. If you're just nerdy enough to pick them all out, you're like, oh look, like way up there's a bronzed head of like Jar Jar Binks, hidden way up in the roof somewhere.
That's cool. Nice.
And I bought I thought it was so brilliant. They had it's just like an abandoned little area, but there's detail everywhere. And it was like an R5 droid without a head, and they put a grate on it and made it a barbecue.
Yeah.
So it's just a hollowed out droid that was a barbecue. I'm like, of course they would do that. You're not using this droid.
What else are astromechs for?
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
I bought a deck of Sabak while I was there, but my wife won't play with me. She's not that into Star Wars.
Did you build a lightsaber?
I didn't, because I've got the Jedi Return of the Jedi Master Replicas one, and I'm really happy with that. So I was like, well, I've spent enough money on this trip for 5 people. I'll just I'll just skip.
It's funny how readily available that stuff is now, because like I remember back in the day, you had to like get blueprints online to make the lightsabers and the hilts, and like to get like the actual like flash handle and stuff like that. Like That was how you had to do it. Now it's just it's 20 different
Oh
websites from
yeah.
different manufacturers, whether you want official
Back
or
back in my day, I had the Empire Strikes Back lightsaber that was just a big hollow tube of plastic. So if you would swing it, it would just make a whistle sound because it was hollow.
yeah.
And I would tape a
Nice.
flashlight into the base of it so I could get some light on it. Or my mom, she would curl her hair all the time, and I thought this was great because when they would burn out, she would take the clipper part off, so it was just like a steel tube, but it had a switch, so she cut the cable off, and it was like a little mini steel lightsaber. I had a bunch of those.
Nice.
Fantastic.
It's kind of like what Stranger had, that little short sword,
Yeah.
And finally, they caught
Yeah.
up to my brilliant idea. My mom's brilliant idea.
His little
Copying
stubbies
you.
there, yeah.
Look, man, you've had a lot of ideas ripped off that we've talked about on this.
Oh well, so good.
No one better rip off my idea for a killer pair of sneakers going around strangling people with its laces. Okay, that's my TM right now. Trademarking that.
Yeah, we should do. You haven't had enough episodes yet, but you got to get somebody on here to do the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes 4-film talk of the 4 films because
And the
most people
cartoon.
don't, and the cartoon. Okay, most people don't know that there was 4 movies made, and the second one starred George Clooney.
What? No way.
Yeah. Young George Clooney is in Return of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the sequel, part 2.
Yeah.
What? Is that the whole title?
I think so. Or they probably just shortened to Return of the Killer Tomatoes, but at one point that was the title.
It's
That's
true.
hilarious.
Yeah.
There's a number.
I love seeing actors and like before they were famous and like those early roles, just like the Master of the Universe movie with Courtney Cox.
Right, yes.
Or
John Aston was in the Killer Tomatoes one with George Clooney as well, like the original Riddler, from the
Interesting.
Batman '66. So, yeah.
That's funny.
I still think the amount of people that they got to be in a Sharknado movie is still. I'm like, were people just coming out of the woodworks like put me in the next one, and then they did.
That's what happens when you have deep pockets.
What do you mean deep pockets? It was a sci-fi channel.
I didn't say the pockets were full. I just said they're deep.
I think it was just one of those. It was like almost like people wanted to be part of an internet meme, and then they were like, "Sure, I'll be on it." Don't even have to pay me.
I love how those like really cheesy movies that weren't intentionally meant to be bad in a way have become like embraced by people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
the Snakes in the
Army of
Flame.
Darkness and stuff.
Army of Darkness was so great. And when I first saw Evil Dead 2, I hated it because I thought it was supposed to be serious and it was a bad horror movie.
Yeah.
And somebody had to actually tell me, like, no, it was kind of meant to be funny. Like, it's meant to be stupid. And so the second time I watched it, I went, oh, actually, this is great. But for a while, I would just rag on that movie because I'm like, this is terrible. Like, this is a bad horror movie. How could anyone like this?
You're like, right. It is. It is a bad horror movie.
Absolutely is. So once I kind of had the proper eyes to view the film, I really loved it since then,
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's just got to be something beloved, just like we did an episode about Event Horizon. Right? That was a bomb of a movie. It crashed and burned, and it's got like a cult fandom, for what it was, which I love that movie. It was so good. It scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah. I hadn't seen it in a long time. I saw it in the theater. I remember that. I don't remember it being good, but maybe I should revisit it.
It's
really
weird because you go back and you watch it, you're like, man, Jurassic Park here is kind of a jerk.
Listen,
I tried to watch Starship Troopers for the second time.
Oh man.
I saw it in the theater, and the first time I saw it in the theater, it was one of those movies I wanted to walk out of. I hated it so much. And then years and years go by, and everyone tells me, oh, it's great. You didn't get it. It's American propaganda. It's this, it's that, it's whatever, And I watched it again. And I said, yeah, I still don't like it.
No, it's terrible. It's a terrible movie. Terrible movie. But
it's an utter. It isn't. It's along the lines of Sharknado before Sharknado. It
Yeah, it's so hard to watch.
except they thought it was going to be good, and then it just ended up being cheesy and
Mhm.
not fantastic. And then you find out
There's
like
been like
back
6
on Alien,
sequels.
it's like there's multiple
Okay.
sequels, and that are even worse. And I think if I remember correctly, there's a cartoon series on it too. There's
Something
definitely a
about
ton of
that.
toys for it, and you're like, but why?
I'm always
This
amazed what gets made, and then I have friends in the animation industry and film industry, and I'm amazed what good ideas don't get made because it seems
Right?
awfully easy to make to make bad movies easily.
Yeah.
I can't figure this out. The math does not work for me.
It's
some
quantity,
yeah,
not quality, okay?
I absolutely, yeah, more, faster, cheaper, yeah,
Yes. All at once. Go.
all at once, go, man.
which is true. I
Yeah.
think that's the world we kind of live in now. Is that and
It's weird being
but
in a world where everything like we grew up with is just being rehashed again and again, and there's more and more of it. I wish there was more care into it. I wish, these things that you care about, you're just getting more of, and you never know if they're going to be good or bad, but you're going to watch them anyways because you grew up with them.
Yeah,
And sometimes
true.
they
I mean,
disappoint you, and sometimes they make you mad, and sometimes there's some good nuggets in there too. But
I did just buy my tickets to Beetlejuice today, so
oh yeah,
we'll see.
I watched the
so
trailer for it, and I went, I remember Beetlejuice.
No,
This
I love
trailer is
Beetlejuice. That first
basically
one was great.
the trailer was just Beetlejuice again. That's
I'm
what.
okay with it.
Yeah, no,
It's
more
still
good.
Michael Keaton. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be disappointed because it's still Michael Keaton and Catherine O'Hara's in it, and we're
Jenna Ortega, I Jenna
she's like the scream
Ortega,
queen now for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
she's got a lot going on for her, and I think she's actually come up as a pretty good actress in the past decade, if you will.
I haven't watched
And
Wednesday yet.
Yeah, I haven't
so
either.
it's good. It's good if you go into it expecting
The Addams Family.
Adam's Family and if you expect the type of the version of Wednesday that Christina Ricci played in the 90s, you're going to be
Yeah,
kind of upset. But if you go into the movie, or if you go into the show uh, following the character and just wanting her to expand on her time at school and stuff like that, and enjoying the story that comes with it in that portrayal of the character, you'll be fine. The weirdest part of the entire show is Luis Guzman as Gomez.
he looks like the most Gomez though. If you look at the old
He
Charles
does,
Addams
but
comics.
Yeah,
but that's the problem, is that like we're used to Raul Julia,
Yeah,
and
Robert
like
Goulet.
we're used to the
charismatic.
more exactly
Yeah,
we're more used to a charismatic um Gomez Adams that is in love with his family and everything like that. Luis Guzman does I like him, but I wasn't super excited for him to be Gomez,
hmm
and he was all right, but it was like the way he loved Morticia and everything was still there, and like the mannerisms and stuff, it just felt weird, and I
mm.
don't I can't. I think he's also like shorter weirdly like than Raul Julia is,
Short and
so
stout.
I think the like them standing next to each other was kind of maybe threw it off as well, but like it's in it a lot, and or thing is in it,
Yeah.
things in it a lot, and things a lot of fun. Wednesday is good. Jenna Ortega does a good job, like her
Sounds like you're
friends
reading a
do.
children's book. Thing is in it a lot, and thing's a lot of fun.
Thing is
Yeah.
good.
Things does think things, and thing does I don't know.
Dr. Seuss.
No,
Yeah.
you're not wrong, but that's it, is like and there's a lot of like Christina Ricci pops up, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you're kind of like, so it does a lot of fanfare, it does that stuff, and it did a really good job.
I've been slightly hesitant of anything Tim Burton since Ed Wood because most of it's been junky. Like he had such a golden age in his early career up till Ed Wood, where I feel like he peaked right there, and then I haven't really found a whole lot of it. Like I don't know, it's just his Willy Wonkas and his Alice in Wonderlands and stuff just hasn't really sunk up. Like it should be good, it should be better than it is, but it isn't.
Well, he's got a very specific style. And if you don't like the style, you're literally going to not like anything he does.
I like his early work up to that point, and then for some reason afterwards, it seemed to lose some of its charm. Or became a shtick, like it just became his thing without being really thought out more so the way it used to be.
It's like, gee, I wonder who's going to be in this movie. Oh, Johnny Depp?
And Helena Bonham Carter?
Helena Bonham Carter? Shock.
What a surprise. Yeah.
But,
man, we've gone off Alien big time.
We do it. Well, no, because think about it though. Like you said, Tim Burton. We can go back to Aliens and be like, look, James Cameron does these weird stories and these weird movies that are just in some cases just they click. And then sometimes it's just like there's something about him where you can't tell where it's supposed to go. Like, I think a lot of people loved Avatar, and I'm like, it's a beautiful movie. But really, we're really going after a thing called unobtainium.
He's trying really hard to make that a thing, like make fetch a thing there, but it's not happening. Like, for all the effort he's put into it, people do not connect with the Avatar the way he wishes they would.
Yeah, and it's like 3 more movies planned or something, right?
And I didn't see the second one yet. I don't know.
What did you say?
There's at least 2 more movies planned.
So, 1 came out years ago. 2 came out a year and a half ago now. I actually just watched it recently, and it's a good it's a good movie. It's not the worst thing I've seen.
Not sneakers.
No, it's not sneakers.
Side note, my movie about killer pair of sneakers, it's going to be called Killer Soul.
Oh.
You like that, huh?
Right.
Or Killer Souls, because it'll be 1 pair, so 2 souls. We'll call it Killer Souls.
Double Knot, the sequel.
Killer Soul, Double Knot, the sequel. I was gonna say Electric
Bunny ears.
Oh man, do we got Heelys, the 3rd one? All right, look, we've already done this. That's it. That's it. It's a comic now. Troy, get on that. Anyway,
let's do the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Kickstarter shoes. All right. This shit writes itself.
Pumped up Kickstarter.
Look, stop walking on it. Anyway, but yeah, Avatar I think was already been greenlit through 5, and I was like,
That's
after
crazy.
watching I was like, I had high hopes, and I watched the second one. I was like, I don't know where we're gonna go. Like, the plot of the second one was basically just murder. Like, it was at least in the first one they were trying to mine, like they were like, we're gonna kill all the creatures here, but that's because we want unobtainium.
That stuff's hard to get.
Right, it's pretty
almost unattainable.
Almost.
Yeah. But the second one was basically just hunting. It was more a Predator movie in water. Like, they're kind of just hunting that specific family.
Wow. Okay. So,
like, I was just like, that's the plot of this movie.
Sounds deep.
Yeah.
Like, let's be clear, it's still a gorgeous movie. It looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's done well, but again, the plot is just kind of like, I guess that's a plot. Like, is that what we're like we talked about? It's like, is that what we're going with? Like, is that really where we're going with
That's
this?
a story you wanted to tell? You got all this to work with, and that's what you chose to do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Kind of like
Right.
Alien Resurrection.
In 20 minutes, last 20 minutes. Like, all right, Joss, why? I don't know why, but here we are.
Was there a vampire hunter in that one?
Oh my god.
Is that where this?
That's the next one. It's gonna be vampire aliens.
Oh man, yeah.
We got
Crossover
Buffy.
with Twilight.
No, Buffy.
Twilight.
Oh yeah, Buffy. I guess that would be easy.
The
We
alien
got
sparkles in
Buffy.
Sparkle
sunlight.
aliens, yeah. Oh my god.
We'll
so
get
pretty.
Buffy. We'll get Angel. We'll get Eliza Dushku to come back from Dollhouse. We'll get Jane from Firefly, because I think he'd be on board with that. Like,
I think
of all the characters,
he could use some work.
right?
Yeah.
Not even the character,
What's he
like
been
just the
doing?
character Jane.
Oh.
I think would be totally involved. Like, he'd be like, "Yeah, let's go get some aliens." Right?
Listen, if we're gonna get anyone from Firefly, it's gonna be Nathan Fillion, because that man is amazing.
But I can't see Mal being involved in that. That's the problem. Like, I could see Jane being like, "Yeah, let's go do this."
Definitely. Yeah.
Right? Like,
I could see that.
Right? And River could probably be involved too, but I feel like that for a character that doesn't really, like, the character arc doesn't make sense. But we could call it Whedon's World, like Wayne's World, except it's Whedon's World. And
Excellent.
Everybody.
Party time.
Exactly. It's everybody, aliens.
I'm a bigger fan of Beekman's World. Okay,
Man,
He
we
still does stuff as Beekman though.
which is incredible.
Yeah.
we just had weird Canadian programming of talking pineapples puppets that would speak French to you. Like,
That super show.
yeah, it was just strange up here. We didn't get all those good shows.
Well, you
Told
did get a
channels
lot
growing
of.
up.
Yeah, I have like a weird, vague recollection. Didn't Aqua have a TV show?
Aqua,
The
The
band?
Barbie girl people.
the band like that did Barbie Girl. It's maybe you're
I
thinking
haven't-
S Club 7.
You're talking
or
about the
something?
Aquabats?
No,
The
I know
Aquabats.
Aquabats had a show, and I know S Club 7
Yeah,
had a show.
me too.
That was a totally different show.
Yeah.
But I have this weird fever dream that the Aqua band had a TV show, and I don't remember. Like, I haven't Googled it enough to remember if I'm.
That's
just
an
crazy.
actual fever dream, I think.
That-
You
it
actually
might
had a fever
be.
dream.
But it's not.
It's a Mandela
like,
effect.
Yeah, it never
It
happened.
could be. I mean, we could go back to all the old Nickelodeon shows. You can't do that on television, and
Oh, now we're talking now. That's Canadian. Can't do that on television with Alanis
that's what I'm
Morissette.
saying. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you got that, and you got you had the S Club set. You didn't
Degrassi.
get that. Breaker
Degrassi.
High, Degrassi.
Where Drake got his start.
Oh man.
Breaker High is where Ryan Gosling got his start with Tyler Labine.
All right. But you're all going to see Romulus. The hype is real. You're feeling it. You're anticipating it.
I'm always down for more stuff that does the world building.
Mhm.
And based off of what you guys have said, it feels like it's more world building. I think I wanted to, after last time we talked about Alien, I wanted to go watch them all and then just never did, but I'll probably end up doing it now because
It's always something else that takes over, and that's what sucks. Like, when we do this, I'm always like, oh yeah, I'll go watch that because we're talking about it. It's fresh in my mind. I'm excited about it because I liked these movies.
Right.
Except for the ones I didn't see. But realistically, I'm going to go upstairs after this and we're going to go finish binging The Bear. That's what I do.
Well, I'll see you guys at GraniteCon, so we can actually talk about Romulus then. So make sure you've seen it before the end of September.
Deal.
Yeah.
Probably have a higher probability of watching Romulus before I get to like 3 or
Comes out next week.
Yep.
Comes out next week.
It's imminent. It's inevitable.
I'm curious to see if they'll do more marketing, like more of that viral marketing. Other than, I think it was just like one day they had it done, but I would be curious to see if they do more of it.
Yeah, they blew their budget and all that.
Maybe, but who knows?
Yep.
But yeah, Well, it was a pleasure having you on, Troy.
Well,
Uh,
thanks for inviting me.
I
I
could
mean, I like talking this stuff. I could talk like this all day. Like we could just ramble on forever
Oh
in
yeah,
any other weird direction, I'm sure.
100%.
us too. It's that amazing web of pop culture and
Yeah.
nostalgia where it literally starts with the aliens, and then
It's 6 degrees of
as you
Kevin
can see how
Bacon.
easily we can just spiral
Oh
out,
my god.
and all the discussions are just as passionate and just as knowledgeable and fond memories. And
Yeah.
I mean, we ended up talking about Avatar, which was James Cameron and Sigourney Weaver again.
There you
yeah, we
go.
didn't get on Ghostbusters. I feel like we failed.
I mean, they'll be at Rhode Island, but it is what it is. But yeah,
Well, we
I
did
mean,
touch on um, what's his name there, Blues Brothers guy,
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Oh,
we
there you
did
go.
touch on
And,
him
well,
earlier. So,
and
it's
Sigourney
all there.
Weaver.
yeah.
Yeah, and Sigourney Weaver again. Like we did the connections. We just didn't talk
Yeah.
about how they're connected.
So
But
Yeah.
your love of Alien, I could tell how how in some of your art it does come out. So
we didn't even touch on Blade Runner and the whole Tyrell Corporation with the alien. Yeah, that's for another show.
that's another episode. Not to be confused with Blade Runner 20 whatever it was.
2049.
2049, and
I couldn't
there's
believe
that
how
new
good that
Blade
movie
Runner
was.
comic.
Did you guys see 2049?
I'm not. I love the original Blade Runner, but I haven't seen the new one.
No, wait, but before we go on, I just gotta say, like, that, I love Blade Runner so much. Like, so much. Love that movie. And the idea that they would make a sequel of it and it would be any good was just beyond my comprehension. Absolutely phenomenal.
Okay. I'll have
It's
to
so
watch
good.
that.
If you feel like kind of like Aliens, you can kind of like, you can like them both for different reasons, and they both
Yeah.
hold up really well. Alien 2049 is visually, thematically, everything about it's brilliant. I couldn't
Nice.
recommend it enough
Okay.
because I couldn't believe how good it was, because did not expect something to like actually pull off a sequel to Blade Runner and be worth watching.
Okay. All right. I'm down then.
Good
Loved
news. Fantastic.
Yep.
And then you can read the comic.
Which one of us is a replicant here? Oh,
Yeah. All right. But yeah, Troy, before we cut you loose, why don't you tell everybody what you got going on and where you've been and all the good stuff that they need to check out.
So recently, I've been the artist for Cult of the Lamb. Man, I couldn't get over that. When they offered me that gig, I had no idea kind of what I was getting into because I hadn't played the game. I wasn't even really aware of it. And then as soon as I stepped foot into it, started playing it and see what the fandom is massive. And the comic, the writer Alex Packendale is just phenomenal. He's just doing such a killer job on the script. So I've been having an excellent time drawing the Cult of the Lamb series. Before that, I was doing Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons, and Cthulhu with Jim Zub. I've adapted Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson as a graphic novel, Powerpuff Girls, and Gore Napkin, my own books. So between drawing, writing, and publishing, like it's comics 24/7 here. My wife Brenda Hickey is also a comic artist, so this is her desk behind me here.
Nice.
So we share a studio space in here, and it's every day it's drawing comics and talking comics and being generally nerdy.
So living the dream.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I mean, you can't. I mean, can't knock it. You've got some big titles in there that you're doing, and some really good stuff.
Yeah, it's some awesome fun stuff too. Yep.
Sweet.
Hell yeah. What about social media? Where can people find you?
Instagram, and Gore Napkin. You'll probably find me through that. I think on Twitter it might be Meanwhile Studio, but Troy Little, if you put either of those in there, I'm sure you can Google search that. And my website is pegamoosepress.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Troy.
Fantastic.
Thanks so much, guys. This was awesome. A lot of fun. I hope your childhood wasn't trash.
Perfect.